Welcome to another episode of 12.5 Minutes. My name is Jared Kelly, and I'm here with my friend and co host, Liz Whitehead.
Hi, Jared.
It is so good to see you for season four of 12.5 Minutes. Let's go.
I know we have so many episodes to listen to, and if you haven't listened to them all, you can find them on YouTube.
Yes, we're still out there, Spotify and YouTube, and we're continuing the theme of crazy, scary, genius, hilarious.
Yeah, it's still so relevant, especially this month, which is Women's History Month. And
It,
we I really am trying to celebrate and not lean into some of the dark things that are happening during this Women's History Month.
Understandable. And on behalf of all men, we apologize for all the things that we've done. Um, and if they don't agree, in the men's meetings, we basically kick them out. You know, you don't belong here. If you don't acknowledge what you've done, whether it's mental or physical, spiritually or emotionally, whatever it is, you've done something wrong and you know it. So happy Women's History Month.
Yes, that's a great start. And brings us to my first crazy thing, which is I don't know if you've heard about the teenagers that are suing Grok. There's a bunch of Tennessee teenagers that are suing Elon Musk and Grok because, well, let me back up. Let me back up and talk about in August of 2025, um, XAI, XAI uses Grok as their AI platform, and they introduced spicy mode, which was a more pornographic edition of what Twitter even already was. So you could use AI to undress people. And so keeping in mind that XAI generated about 300 or Grok generated about $300 million in revenue in 2025
Mhm.
in the third quarter. So after like around this time, they made 88 million alone.
Hmm.
So so they introduced this spicy mode. Shocking to no one, it went awry really fast. And these Tennessee teenagers had their images out there, and their classmates, people they knew, and strangers could then take their clothes off. And that isn't all. I mean, we'll have some of the links in the video. You can look it up. But it just kept escalating. So it wasn't just like, oh, it's a girl in a bikini. It was like teenagers in these compromising positions. And so, what I think is Women's History Month about it all is one, this is constantly something that women have to contend with throughout history, um, as you mentioned. But then also that they're like, all right, we're going to sue. Let's get a piece of that $300 million about, let's get a piece of that money you made on our images. So I think it's an interesting way that the dangers of AI are intersecting with teenagers saying these are our rights, and then who's going to get the money, who's accountable for this, and who stands to gain from these kinds of things. So I thought that was an interesting. Like you could look at it as an awful thing, but it was these teens are kind of empowered.
Right. And I would say this, without diving into all the details, I would say that one of the biggest challenges about that is human behavior. Um, that's where it starts, and then capitalizing on human behavior. So the first part is utilizing X to post, especially young people, teenagers, that might not have been their platform of choice, but any individual at one point in time could post an image of anyone else. There were no guardrails of doing that. Well, not only is that a problem, but now you can, with a simple prompt, change that person's image, change their behavior, change their clothing, um, and do it for nefarious reasons. And not only is that an issue for adults, but there's no way that AI can tell the age of the individuals in the image. So I'm not saying that it can't tell the difference between a baby and an adult. What I'm suggesting is a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 20-year-old, 25-year-old, it won't know the difference, right?
Oh, AI is very much less confused when it comes to men than when it comes to women, too.
Yeah,
AI gets very confused by the images because what is on the internet
exactly.
is confusing.
Exactly. And to follow the money, the reality is that this is an important lawsuit because it should have an impact on the next round of funding that XAI is receiving, which they're looking for $6 billion of funding.
Mhm.
So I hope that these young ladies do make history and help stop all of this very reckless use of technology.
Absolutely. So it gets a little darker from here in terms of what I'm thinking about. Women's History Month kicked off with an airstrike that killed 175 people, mostly children and teachers, in Iran because we were at war. And I think what links this one, it is a terrible, horrible thing to happen in any month. To the fact that it was primarily girls was just very, just an abomination, incredibly disturbing. And then also that, like, in throughout so much of women's history, there's no accountability for it. The U.S. came out immediately with the Shaggy defense, like, wasn't me,
Mhm.
wasn't us, and it's war. Terrible things happen, but there's accountability, there's processes, and things like that. So that's something that is, you know, it put a bad taste in my mouth, and probably why a lot of these things are dark for Women's History Month.
Yeah, yeah, and that not only is that an atrocity, but it's also an example of how there's little regard for human life, whether it's locally or globally. And if we as citizens are going to vote in elected officials and give them authority and right to make decisions on our behalf, the very last thing that we want is to have recklessness in our government where they would take any type of action where they don't even know what the consequences are. And then when they do make a very obvious mistake and happen to kill 168 people who happen to also be in a girls' school, like that is ridiculous. Like that is an example of you should be fired.
Yes,
You should be fired. There's no way that we should be employing you to do anything when this is the results of your decision making.
right. And women and children are always disproportionately affected by war and its aftermath. So it's one of those things where absolutely, uh, what are we doing here? And how can you talk about this on one hand, and then talk about Women's History Month on the other? But we'll get to that piece of it because there have been some bright spots. I think one of the biggest bright spots for me during Women's History Month was the Oscars and the fact that the first woman cinematographer won, Autumn Durald Arkapaw, who is the cinematographer for Sinners.
Mm.
She won the first ever Oscar for cinematography by a woman. And her speech was also very, I thought, genuine, and it treaded a fine line when she asked all the women to stand up, where she was it's not just about me, it is about the history that's come before. And also, I'm really proud of winning this award. I thought it was very well done. And I also really liked that movie. I thought it was absolutely well deserved. So it was great.
Yeah, congratulations to Sinners. They did all the people involved, including um, this young lady who clearly had the ability to put her skill set on display and do it at the highest level. And so, round of applause for her, and to you know be in a thought process of winning is one thing, but I want to share this with the other women in the room, and having them stand up for recognition, I think was an awesome display of advocacy the right way. So congratulations to her. That's absolutely genius of her to come up with a way to use her spotlight to put a spotlight on all women. So
Yeah, absolutely. And then the the last thing I wanted to talk about, because I think it's hilarious, is
oh,
the White House Women's History Month event, which featured Melania. And
she
I
puts a
mean,
spotlight on something. What?
well, it was very clearly kind of a promotion for her movie, which came out. Not an Oscar winner, although I guess we'll have to wait till next year to see. But her, it was basically about her as a movie star, which her husband also kind of reinforced, like, oh yeah, she's in a movie now, all this stuff. And it was just kind of hilarious to me because something has to be that they use this platform of Women's History Month to um, to honor that movie. It was uh, definitely look it up. And then at the end of it, again, this is the White House Women's History Month event, and the president said, "Yeah, I mean, we love women here. They're pretty much the whole deal, right?"
What?
Which I don't even know what that means. Um, but it really with everything that was going on, I have to say it made me
Yeah,
laugh.
that's wild. That's wild. I have no words for the idea that one, she's being labeled as a movie star. That doesn't fit, doesn't track at all. And then as well, no consideration for awards. No one even saw this little flick of hers. And then we also understand it's grifting. We understand that, highly paid to do next to nothing that isn't even interested interesting to the marketplace. Like no one's like, "Ooh, I can't wait to see this." Like no one clamored for that. And so to distribute it and then to acknowledge her as being like a part of some uplifted platform of success, we're stretching pretty wide there. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think you make a good point. Like we know it's a grift. It's definitely a grift. And just to use that platform for this grift was uh so classic. Just
yeah.
classic comedy.
Yeah, it's consistent comedy coming from the clown show. So, anyway, with that in mind, that's another episode, I think, in the books for us. This is 12.5 minutes. My name is Jared Kelly. This is Liz Whitehead, and we are out of here. Bye for now.
Bye.